Hello, I'm Daniel, and welcome to the Emunah Project. We here at the Emunah Project are continuing in our series of videos with respect to advice and counsel and information and inspiration. And I want to talk today about the concept of a broken heart. Brokenheartedness. It's often referred to in the scriptures, especially in the book of Psalms. In chapter 34, verse 18 of the book of Psalms, it says that God is close to the brokenhearted and saves those with a contrite spirit, with a crushed spirit. In chapter 51, verse 17, it says Hashem's sacrifices, God's sacrifices are what? Goats, sheep, bulls? No. God's sacrifices are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. Those God will not reject. So, what is this brokenheartedness? Those of us who have had our hearts broken know what it's like emotionally. Spiritual brokenheartedness, when you've realized just how badly you've messed up, how far away and how much you've failed in fulfilling God's wishes for you, God's commandments, and when you come to the Creator and you pray and you daven and you come to Him with this broken heart, with this remorse. That's what the book of Psalms is talking about. Rebbe Nachman of Breslov distinguishes brokenheartedness from despondency, depression. And when I say depression, I don't mean clinical depression. I'm not talking about a psychological depression. I'm talking about a spiritual despondency, despair, and all too often the bitterness that comes with it. When you approach God with a broken heart, with a contrite, crushed soul, that's good. When you're all bitter and despairing and despondent, not so good. So the question then becomes, well, how do we know? How do I know that I've davened with the proper brokenheartedness? How do I know that what are the signs that I've done this properly? Rebbe Nachman points to one sign. There are many, but the one that Rebbe Nachman pointed out is this. This is when you daven sincerely. You should always approach the Creator with truth and honesty, with simplicity. He says, when you daven, either through formal prayer or through hisbodedus, through talking to God personally, afterwards, if you daven, if you pray sincerely, with a broken heart, with a contrite spirit, he says that afterwards, later, you will feel a sense of happiness, a sense of joy. And through this later joy and happiness, that is a sign, it's not the only one, that is a sign that you've done it correctly. You have unburdened that broken heart. By talking to God, God has helped you lift up that crushed spirit. And that despondency, that despair, and again, I'm not talking about a clinical psychological depression. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a spiritual despondency and despair and bitterness. One of the reasons we are to avoid this at all costs is because, first of all, Rebbe Nachman says we should always be happy. It's a great mitzvah always to be happy. And why? Because the downside is if you're not, you run the danger, chas v'sholom, God forbid, of falling into this despair and this despondency and this feeling of spiritual hopelessness. That gets us nowhere. We're going to be doing more videos along these lines. Please come back, please watch, please learn. And until next time, on behalf of the Emunah Project, I'm Daniel, and thank you too much.